Massaba's in the middle. Wednesday here could seal it. Gassman finds Masaba.
Now Bannon with a great ball in. Here's an opportunity. Palmer scores! Liam Palmer has scored for Sheffield Wednesday.
Another day is coming to a close, and wages for last month, wages that were supposed to have been paid last Friday, are still outstanding and unpaid. It's bad enough for me to say that the players haven't been paid, but we're talking about the non-football staff as well. The heartbeat of the football club, the unsung heroes, the people working hard in the shop, the training ground, everywhere else to do with the club. Whilst other fans of other clubs are debating whether, who they need to sign for this summer, we're wondering whether the staff will rightly get the money that they're owed. It's an absolute shambles. Hello and welcome to the Wednesday Till I Die podcast. I'm James Mappin. This is the debate show, the show where we give you the chance to come up and talk about Sheffield Wednesday. We're going to be live, as we always are, around about an hour and a half, so do stick around for the full show. If you can't stay for the full show or you want to listen back to it, head over to patreon.com/WTID pod, where you can sign up over there. You get access to Discord, which has been, consuming most of my time over the past 3, 4, 5 days or so. Not much work has been done, put it that way. But yeah, you can join the Discord. You get all access to all the extra shows as well. So yeah, no excuse not to sign up. It's going to be a busy one this evening. I can already see a lot of people in the chat already. We've got Daz, we've got James, we've got Craig, Dan, Mark, Big Artie Shaw's in here as well. James is here. We've got Andrew from Australia saying, when will this clown sell? We've got Lee, got loads of people in here. Do get all your comments in. A reminder as well that you can come over on Twitter Spaces and come and speak. Just press request to talk on the bottom left. I've got Sups, I've got Sheree, I've got Peter, I've got G, Stevie, I've got loads of people that want to come up and chat, which I'll get to you in a second. Before we do get underway, I just want to point out that we have set up a GoFundMe to go towards paying for the wages for the staff. Now, I hope it doesn't come to this being needed, but a massive thanks to everyone that has already donated. If the wages issue is resolved, which I hope it is sooner rather than later, then the money will go to the Children's Hospital charity. Obviously a great cause, of course. Do check our Twitter for the link to that one if you do want to go and donate. I think it's over £2,200 already, which is, again, just shows how the solidarity to all the staff and everything like that. What we're going to be talking about, I wonder, of course. The John Flanagan interview that should have been today, but it got leaked, and it was, everyone heard it yesterday. The one with Radio Sheffield and Rob Staten. Who is John Flanagan? Well, obviously he is one of the members of this Florida consortium that's made 2 unsuccessful bids for the club. What did you make to what has been said? How did he come across to yourself when you was listening to that, 15, 16-minute interview? Would you be happy if that consortium was to take over Sheffield Wednesday? I mean, do you have any reservations at all? Has it thrown up any questions? I suppose if you could ask them one question, what would that be? What would your question to them be? Obviously, I know there's Adam Shaw that's closely related. They didn't disclose any of the other people that's part of this consortium, obviously saying that there's some public figures or well-known figures as well. So yeah, do let us know whether that's in the comments or you want to come up and speak, as many of you always do. We also, as I mentioned at the top, talk about wages that haven't been paid. To our knowledge, no deal has been agreed to sell the club as it stands at the moment. Where does that kind of leave us? We've got 9 weeks until the first game of the season. The 3 players who gave contracts to, they've not signed. The manager situation is still uncertain, and we've got to replace those players that have left. And we've got pre-season. I mean, it's just incredible that we are kind of in this situation, really. But yeah, so we can talk about that. Obviously, Chansiri is being charged by the EFL now. God, there's so much that's happened, in the past week. I get to the end of the season, I'm thinking we have to do these best 11 episodes, but my oh my, there's just so much that we can talk about. I mean, I'll read the statement that's come from the EFL. Sheffield Wednesday Football Club has been charged with multiple breaches of EFL regulations relating to payment obligations. The owner of Sheffield Wednesday, Jejpon Chansiri, has also been charged with causing the club to be in breach of EFL regulations despite his commitment to fund the cash requirements of the club. All charges relate to both the ultimate beneficial owner and the club failing to meet their obligations to pay players' wages on time and in full in March and May 2025. It also goes on to say that the club and Mr. Chansiri have 14 days to respond to the charges. Obviously, this was yesterday. The club did respond to say that they acknowledge the statement issued by the EFL and they continue to seek a resolution regarding the outstanding salaries due for the month of May, and Mr. Chansiri sincerely apologises to all players, coaches and staff affected, and they go on to say that they'll make no further comment. So let's first, before we come to everyone else that wants to speak, I just want to kind of give my thoughts, if I can, on that interview that came out yesterday. For me, I thought that he spoke very well. I think it was very clear that the questions had already been kind of, pre-sent over beforehand to prep them. But, I'm okay with that. I suppose that makes sure that they can give some good answers and they're not going to be caught off guard because, the idea is not to really trip people up there. But so I was okay with that. I think they said all the right things. I'll be upfront and honest. I mean, it's nothing revolutionary, but it's everything that we've been asking for. From Chansiri, like things that we don't get, such as a CEO, director of football. I mean, a plan first and foremost. I think one thing that was good, recognising the fans and recognising our input and the community and things, and also the commercial aspect, which I think has been massively neglected during Chansiri's reign. We don't have any sort of sponsor at all, really, when we think about it, and obviously you look at other clubs and they reference Wrexham, of course, with their sponsorship deals. We obviously want to replicate something like that. I think personally, I was just really happy with what's been said, and there wasn't, again, nothing that I could disagree with. I did speak about kickers in the deal. I don't mean kickers as in the trainers, the shoes, sorry, that you used to wear at school. But my presumption is that this is the problem that Chansiri is probably having. Kickers being incentives on top of the deal that's been given. I mean, if they've gone from 30 or 40 million up to 70 to 80, that's not going to be all in upfront money. You don't just suddenly double your deal. So I think that's Chansiri probably just wants the money up front, whatever that money is. He wants it now and then. I mean, Keelan Cadamarteri deal, apparently that was also him wanting money up front because he needs this money. He needs the money now, whether that's to pay the wages or maybe to pay people that he owes a lot of money to as well. We didn't hear if they're going to put another bid in or not. It sounded to me like it was still open. They didn't definitively say that they're not, but again, they didn't say if they are. Fingers crossed, maybe something else does happen. Like I said, the club haven't come out and formally rejected it, which they did with the first one. So, again, read into that what you will. I think the most alarming thing, though, or is it alarming? I don't know. The thing at the end where he says if that's how much you're going to spend, then go buy a League One or a League Two club. I mean, this is from a man who is currently struggling to make ends meet and struggling to pay the wages for the players and the staff, the coaches, but yet he's kind of dismissing the amount of money that the other owners have got. I mean, he's not got a pot to piss in, has he? And he's just an absolute clown. I mean, the audacity to even say that is just mental. Anyway, I've got lots of people that want to speak. I've got lots of comments as well. Do keep all the comments coming in. Let's come to Cherie first, if we can. Cherie, how's things? You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you, James.
Yeah, this, we should be talking about new transfers and transfer targets and rumours and things like that. Instead, we're talking about wages that haven't been paid and bids for the football club that have been turned down, aren't we?
Yeah.
What do you make to the whole situation at the moment, Cherie?
Just one big fat mess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's rejected these bids, and Cherie. I'm guessing you just want him to accept it and move on. Did you listen to the interview that John Flanagan did with Radio Sheffield?
Yeah, I did.
What did you make to it? Was you pleased with what he'd said, or would you be happy if they were the new owners of Sheffield Wednesday?
It sounded quite interesting what he said.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't groundbreaking, was it? But it was all things that, for me, we've been crying out for. Fans to be recognised. A CEO, a director of football. Commercial deals as well. Realising that you don't have to keep pumping all the money in yourself. You can get the money from elsewhere as well to help, which is clearly something that Dejphon Chansiri has not been doing. For me, it sounded all right. Was there any reservations at all? Was anything that you kind of weren't really happy with, or was everything that he said you was okay with?
I think everything he said was okay.
Yeah. Cherie, what else do you want to say whilst you're up here? What do you want to talk about?
The whole situation with the wages is one big fat mess.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Did you ever think that it would come to this point, Cherie, where it's one thing the players not getting paid, but the other thing, people, ordinary people that just work in the shop. I don't know the specifics. I don't know exactly who it is that's owed money, whether it's everyone or just a certain few. But the non-footballing staff, as they're being referred to, they'll be desperate for this money, won't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, what's your when you think about Sheffield Wednesday at the moment, what's the emotion that you get? Is it kind of sadness, frustration, embarrassment? What you thinking at the moment?
Well, it's frustration, embarrassment, because it's not just us fans that have to suffer. It's also the players, the staff, the coaching staff, and the non-football staff as well. Where
does this leave us for next season, Cherie? I know we've been on the pod quite a lot, and it's all doom and gloom, saying relegation, and we're going to be struggling next season. What do you think?
I just don't know, because I don't know if we're going to have a manager come August. We might not have a proper team. We just don't know.
Yeah, and obviously Barry Bannon's not signed his new contract yet. Callum Patterson hasn't. Akin Fumero, they've all stalled, which, I don't blame them. If they haven't been paid for last month, why would they sign a new contract? I'm sure they perhaps going to be looking elsewhere, and it's a perfect opportunity for other clubs to kind of swoop in and take them off our hands. It would be a massive shame, wouldn't it, if Barry Bannon doesn't sign a new contract, wouldn't it?
Okay. But no one's going to sign for us. Not while we're under the ownership of Chansiri, because like I said, it's us Wednesday fans that have to suffer, as well as the staff and everyone else.
It is. Cherie, is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I've got lots of people that want to talk this evening, of course.
Just one more thing. I just hope this wage issue gets resolved, and hopefully Chansiri will leave, because us Wednesday fans and the club deserve better. We cannot carry on as a football club like this under his ownership.
Cherie, no true words said. Thank you very much for coming up. Of course, if you want to do exactly the same as Cherie, do press that request to talk button. Like I say, it's going to be very, very busy this evening. I'm going to come to Sups next. I'm just going to read a few comments out if we can. John said more in 20 minutes than we heard in the last 10 years from the current owner, obviously in relation to John Flanagan, who came on BBC Radio Sheffield yesterday. Andrew said, love the way he spoke. I can't for the life of me understand why Wednesday supporters want to put them / Adam Shaw when we've accepted Chansiri for a decade. Chansiri is a crook. Yeah, just on that. Also, a lot of people saying, these two haven't got any money. They're not the people with the money. Like that is obvious. They are obviously the face of the consortium. They're the people that they're putting forward. These other people behind the scenes that will have the vast majority of the money. Maybe these two have have actually facilitated it, who have brought these people together and actually got them to put this money in. But, you know, they're not the ones that have got all the money, rest assured. And also, you're right, like, you know, what is the alternative? The alternative is we have a chairman that currently doesn't have a pot to piss in. He can't pay the wages. How are we going to have any sort of transfer fund to actually bring any players in I'm not even meaning to, you know, to compete in the top 6, just to compete in the championship level. You know, it's not even going to happen, is it? So, yeah, and also, Chancery's been here 10 years. It doesn't mean that the new owners are going to also be here 10 years. I hope they are. I hope they come in and it's a fantastic ownership that lasts, you know, for many, many years to come. But it might not. It doesn't have to. And also, I mean, it's been a disaster in trying to get him to sell the club. And, you know, it's been years and years and years. How many times he's been saying no? Obviously, he's finally, you know, got to the table with people and started to negotiate. Maybe the new owners, when they come in, maybe they might be more receptive to letting it go when the time is right as well, which just makes it a lot easier for everyone. We don't have this situation playing out again. So, yeah, a lot of people throwing shade on the consortium. I think it's totally wrong, to be fair. Right, let's come to Sups then, because he's been waiting. Sups, how's it going, mate? You all right?
Hello, James. Yeah, not too bad. Bit of man flu. I think it's been brought on by all this, to be honest.
Oh, do you know what? It's consumed. Well, so I had someone yesterday saying, "Is there a pod today?" I know it feels like it every single day since Friday, Sunday, Monday. No, there was brief respite yesterday, but we're back again. Of course, it's just you just find yourself just constantly refreshing Twitter, Discord. You know, literally every 10 minutes, and it's just consuming everything.
It's a good job you and Matt ain't got jobs or families, isn't it?
It's a good job Matt's not got a round of golf to play. But anyway.
Yeah, true.
What's your take on what was said then yesterday by John Flanagan?
I thought for an 18-minute interview, I don't know what anybody else would want from a very kind of summary 18 minutes. I thought, honestly, for me, I thought it was excellent. He talked about community, he talked about infrastructure, he talked about entertainment and an environment, he talked about ticket prices, value for money. He alluded to the fact that he's representing household names, professional athletes, so these are going to be big hitters. He was clearly very well briefed and very well researched for somebody who, let's give him some credit here. He's not connected with Wednesday at all, but it sounded like he'd done research, and really, he's kind of shown more understanding about us and our fan base and our club in an 18-minute soundbite than Chancery ever has. It's never been about us as a fan base or a connection. It's always been about him and what he's doing. But for what I heard from John Flanagan, I don't know what anybody else would want from a kind of introduction interview. I thought it was top notch, really.
Yeah, he come across quite well, and like I've just been saying before, from my point of view, kind of said everything that you want to hear, and it sounded like there is some sort of plan there. But it wasn't kind of revolutionary, was it? But it just kind of shows you how far we have fallen in that we are willing to accept and get excited about someone saying we're going to put footballing people in footballing positions. It just shows the way that we're currently being run that we will get excited by something like that.
The thing about it, James, is that we are starting at such a low position that there are we've talked about it before. There's so many easy wins, and I mean, I'm someone who worked for an American company for over 10 years, and in that time had American bosses. and I know from personal experience that they focus on the big ticket items very early. They absolutely ram those priorities home, and they stick to it. And from what it sounded like, they were gonna be all in on delivering a. I mean, the buzzword's product, isn't it? But by that I mean, I don't just mean the football on the pitch. I mean Hillsborough being a stadium that we're proud of. Customers. When they are customers actually buying things from the club shop, whether it's supporters on a match day, being
But do
comfortable.
you know what, Subs? As a fan base, there's so much untapped potential, I feel. The third shirt for next season is a prime example. People could not contain themselves to go out and buy that. But and as much as we whinge about the price of the tickets, it's all about having. And I think he did allude to this. He got asked about ticket prices, and I don't want to say he dodged the question, but I think quite a lot of people might have hoped that he would say they would reduce the prices, but he went on down the route of saying that it's about value for money, and I think he is right in a sense. People will pay for something if they feel they're getting that value for that buzzword, the product that they're selling and stuff. At the moment, we're not getting the quality on the pitch as we were promised. Certainly for what we're paying, the facilities don't match what we're paying either. So, I think we you see how many people buy the shirts every single week. You see how many people buy the hoodies, buy anything. Go to the fan zone's always rammed as shitty as it is. We will spend our hard-earned cash on the football club that we love, but we've just got to tap into that, I feel.
100%. And, for a home match at Hillsborough, a championship game, if a ticket price is 40 something quid or even 50 something quid, that's why everybody's up in arms. It's too much. But if Hillsborough was a cracking new revamped stadium with a team that we're proud of on the pitch, a winning team pushing for promotion, cup runs, real feel good atmosphere, blue and white back all over the city, then we wouldn't hear the moans about the ticket prices, because you're getting the full experience. You are getting value for money. At the minute, when you're paying 40 or 50 quid for a ticket, you can't buy a pie, you can't buy a pint. There's running water issues and everything else that we've been talking about for ages. So it's just a shitty experience for repeat customers. People don't want to do it, and this is where when you're talking about season ticket renewals, and it's really sad that lots of Wednesdayites have decided enough's enough. They don't want to give him any more cash. I can see both sides of it. Then that's where it comes in. But with a complete reset, with a consortium, a plan, direction, strategy, you watch. In no time at all, there'll be queues for season tickets. There'll be a waiting list for season tickets. That's how quickly it can change.
Yeah. So if this consortium was announced that they're taking over Sheffield Wednesday, how would you feel, Subs?
It'd be like Christmas, birthday, summer holiday, all at once, because I'm at the stage now where anything is better than what we've got. It can't get any worse. They sound like they are well backed. An investment consortium. It's not about how many billions they've got, in my opinion, even, James. It's about having a plan, having the direction, having a strategy, resetting, talking about the community, talking about the supporter experience, all of those things, and the money happens behind the scenes. Obviously, there'd be a lot of investment to start with if they were going to prioritise infrastructure and facilities and that kind of thing. That's not going to come cheap, and that's probably a 5 to 10 year plan. But I would be absolutely elated as soon as it gets announced, because we can't fall any lower than this.
Is there any questions that if you had the chance to put to the consortium that you would? Did that interview throw up any things that you wanted to say at all?
Yeah, it did. I don't think we would get the answers at this stage, because obviously they are just, they are just kind of potential links to the club at the minute, and they're trying their level best to get Chansiri to engage on an ongoing basis and get some proper dialogue rather than just being blanked and rejected. But my question would be, there are so many things that need to happen with Sheffield Wednesday. Where do they start? So the question would be, what are the top 3 priorities upon a takeover? I know they'd start with, as I said, the big ticket items, but it'd be very interesting to hear what they saw as the 3 big ones that they're going to start with, because that in itself would give us a real indication of their intent, of their kind of plan, and their knowledge of the size of the task.
Yeah, so massive thanks for coming on, pal. Normally we'd chat for longer, but I've just got so many people that want to talk. I want to give everyone a chance, but thanks for coming on,
All
mate.
the best, mate.
Do really appreciate it. I'm going to come to Stevie next, and then I'm going to come to Peter. I've got lots of comments as well that I'll try and read through. Jay said, wages covered by selling Cadamarteri then? ? Yeah, it's been reported 1.5 million. I don't think a deal's been agreed just yet, but Chansiri's wanting, again, money up front, so clearly trying to scrabble around to get this money. I mean, just on that, and feel free to wade in with your thoughts as well. It's what we should be doing. This talent that's coming through, if you can get 1.5 million for a 15-year-old, you've done fantastically well. And I think us as a club and an academy aren't at the point where we're going to really keep hold of that sort of talent. That talent will just leave straight away, and we'll probably never see it playing, for Sheffield Wednesday in our current state at the moment. However, and I think a lot of people have pointed this out on socials already today, and I do agree, that money should then be invested back into the squad. We talk quite a lot about, signing players for 200 grand, 500,000 here, whatever it may be, and then selling them for 5, 6, 7 million potentially. That's not going to happen. We're going to sell Keelan Cadamarteri to just cover the wages, and then what happens next month? Like, it's just filling a stopgap, and it's not, it's just sorting out a cash flow issue right now, and it's not, as I said, going into actually furthering the football club or getting us any better, which is just, it's like selling a prized possession, selling your Rolex watch or whatever it is that you might have, you've kept for years. It's been passed down just so you can pay the mortgage or something like that. You don't have anything to show for it whatsoever. Kevin said at least he agreed to an interview more than Chansiri will. Yes, I know that Radio Sheffield have been trying to get Chansiri on. How long that interview would last, I have no idea. So maybe it's a good thing that he's not coming on. Gary said, it's okay talking, James. The proof will be in the pudding. Let's hope they do all they said they're going to do. With Gary, they've got to have a bid accepted first before they can do all of that. Russell Howes said, I'm sure Dave Allen had kickers when he sold to Milan if they got to the Prem, and DC bought him out of them when he took over. Not sure on that one. Jack has said he's got to put another bid in because there is no way he just says his whole plan, and the fact he has backing from other people, he won't do that if he didn't want to try again. I mean, that is one thing that I did. That was a question that popped up for me, is why are they coming out now? Why are they coming public now? What are they to gain after they've had 2 failed bids? What are they to gain by sharing what their plan their motive is. Maybe you're right. Maybe they are going to come in with another bid. Steve, I don't agree with these vetted question interviews. Far too easy for people to look up what fans want and just parrot it verbatim. It's all words at the end of the day, isn't it, Steve? But, until they come in, until they actually put those into actions, it's not a great deal else that they can do, really. However, Chansiri has the opportunity to do that. Chansiri has the opportunity to say exactly what John has said and do exactly what John said. He's the owner of the club. He wasn't willing to do all of that. So, I get your point, though. I do get your point. Natalie said, if they stay 5 years but sell us in a better situation, no arguments. We need that. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. That could happen. I don't think they'll make a great deal of money from us. Who knows? But yeah, if they were to come in and make some improvements on the infrastructure and actually get some assets, who knows? I'm sure that's why they're wanting to, spend as little money as possible to try and buy us. I know when Kieran Maguire came on, massive thanks to Matt, of course, for doing that interview on Monday. I'm sure you've already seen it. Lots of people already have. If you haven't, just check the YouTube channel after this show. But yeah, he was talking about 30 to 40 million being a fair price for Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, which is what that first bid was rumoured to be. So yeah, and finally, before we move on to Steve, Wednesday Warehouse said, evening guys, I thought the consortium interview sounded well and was positive to hear. DC has to go now. It is not fit and not proper what he has done to the staff and the club. For me, it's unacceptable behaviour. And just on that as well, do check out Wednesday Warehouse if you haven't already. I know he's opening a bit of a museum, if you want to call it that, down in Kelham Island. So check his socials out. I don't know if it's open just yet, but go and have a look at that one. He has got some absolutely cracking stuff from down the years that you can go and have a look at. Let's come to Stevie then next. Stevie, mate, how's things? All good?
Well, I'm just on this emotional roller coaster that's Sheffield Wednesday.
Like I said before, mate, other clubs are talking about signing new players, and I've seen Blackpool have signed Michael Ahekwa, Preston have signed Paul Valentin, and we're in absolute dire straits, mate.
It is really, really bad. I mean, I listened to that interview and I felt absolutely fantastic listening to what he said. Like Sups, I also work for an American company, and the Americans are a lot better at these things than we are. It's all about being customer focused and doing the right thing for the customer. At the same time, they look after the staff and they make sure that the staff are all right. And they are generally very, very, very good organisations to work for, American ones. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I was feeling great listening to the interview. And then when it got to the end and he came out with the quote that Chansiri made about, with that amount of money, you ought to be going after a first division club. And to pardon my French, I thought, well, what a bell end. Honestly.
Does it surprise you, though? Because he's a lot of things.
The arrogance of the man is just knows bounds. I just can't believe that he's in a position where he can't even pay his own staff, and he's still got the lack of self-awareness and arrogance to come out with a ridiculous statement like that. They've offered him, from what we understand, if the rumours are true, they've offered him double the market value of the club.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much that's going to be up front. My guess would be that the bid probably would have been the same as before, but they've just added a lot of incentives on, which is at zero risk for the consortium, because, if we do get to the promise, I'm guessing one of them would be if we got to the Premier League, then yeah, we've got a load of money coming in, so we can give Chansiri a bit of extra. But it's clearly that he needs that money now, and he needs it. He needs it quick. But yeah, you're right. Like I ask this question every single week, Stevie. It's the why. He can't pay staff. There are going to be people out there that are struggling. We're now 4th of June. As we sit here, they should have been paid on Friday. Now Wednesday, they haven't been paid. They would have had rent, mortgage, things coming out. Some of these could be, single families. It could be anyone in this situation. And he's X amount of thousands of miles away, so to believed, in Thailand, seemingly not giving a shit. He just said, we give our apologies. So we send our apologies to the people that we owe money to. It's not good. The fact that this happened 2 months ago and it's happened once again, people were giving him excuses saying, it's the start of the tax year. He's just trying to save a little bit of money. It's all right. No, he's not. He is absolutely skinned. And the fact that he's not done any, seemingly not done anything to solve the situation because he is that cash strapped and that, he's obviously exhausted every single avenue, that he thinks he's got. It's honestly, it gets me so angry, Stevie, just even thinking about it.
Well, where's the season ticket money gone? Because he got a big chunk of that in January, and by March he couldn't pay the wages. I mean, I do wonder deep down whether he's absolutely scared stiff of what due diligence. If he accepts a bid, what is the due diligence going to turn up? Are we going to find out that he's been misappropriating the season ticket money and spending it on other things? I don't know. I just wonder if he's a bit scared of the due diligence being done on the finances.
Possibly, but don't you just? Isn't that what a non-disclosure agreement is all about?
Well, yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
I'm sure that is what happens. You sign one of those, they have a look, and if they see something, they can't then come out and tell everyone. I mean, I'm sure it's for things like, if for example we'd got plans to, I don't know, build a new training ground, but it's not been announced, but they're in the plans. They can't just come out and go, oh, by the way, they're planning on building a new training ground and kind of buy that land or something like that. I don't know. That's probably the reason why you do all this stuff as well. Because I can't see why someone would just throw shade over looking at the accounts. But I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. If you find something that's kind of not lawful, let's say, do you have to declare that if you've seen something? I've no idea.
I'm sure to get reported to the relevant authorities.
That's what I mean. Even if you have signed an NDA, which is why he probably doesn't want to do that, and he wants to do it all on. But surely it's going to come out at some point. If there is things that are untoward, surely it's going to come out. I don't know how he, surely if that is the case, you need to get your ship in order first, so that and sort those stuff out so that it's not so it doesn't become a problem. I'm just, again, so frustrated with the whole situation. I mean, if he gave it away for nothing, he'd be £9 million better off every year. That's just facts, because he told, based on the last accounts. I mean, what did you? I'll ask you the same question as I asked Sups, Stevie. If this consortium was to come in, would you be happy with that?
I would, and contrary to what a lot of people have said. I'm pleased that there is going to be somebody like Adam Shaw involved, who I know he spent a lot of time in America and he calls football soccer, which seems to upset a lot of people. He's spent a lot of time in America, so he's probably got used to their ways, you know what I mean? But at least he's one of us. He's first and foremost a Sheffield that Andy Wednesday. So we have actually got somebody involved in the consortium who has some kind of understanding and feelings like we've got, and I think that's quite important. But as far as the interview was concerned, I was happy with everything he said. It's common sense.
Just on that as well, I do find it funny when people see, Turkey Al Sheikh name getting thrown around, or Mr. Walmart's name getting thrown around, and instantly people look at the wealth that they have, and they just think that money is going to be ploughed straight into the football club. It don't work like that. And also as well, these people, they're not sat there thinking, do you know what, I've been waiting all this time to purchase Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. It's been a dream of mine all my life. Ultimately, they're just buying something, and they're just buying a football club that seems to be available. And I also think as well, the way that Chansiri is and how difficult he is, it's probably only going to be someone of an Adam Shaw ilk, because he has an actual connection to the football club and he actually wants to purchase the club. He won't be interested in buying Notts County or Aldershot or I don't know, whoever that may, Portsmouth. He ain't got to, he don't want to buy them football clubs because he has that connection with Sheffield Wednesday, Steve.
Oh yeah, it's It's a big thing for me. I think it's it's a real positive. But no, I really like the cut of this bloke's jib. He's looking at his background. He's worked in corporate finance and he's worked on £1 billion deals. So he does understand business. Unfortunately, I think our chairman has been masquerading and holding us under this misapprehension that he is actually a businessman. And I think it's patently obvious that he's not. He's a spoilt little rich kid who has no perception of real life whatsoever, and I think lives in a fantasy world, to be perfectly frank with you.
Yeah, it's not, when I think about, the situation that we're in now, I just need it to. I just want it to stop. Do you know what I mean? I just want it to end. I just want it to get back to being a normal football club. I don't want anything extravagant. I just want us to be normal again. I know I said it at the start of last season. I just want a season like Bristol City. It might get boring after a bit, but it's just far too stressful in it at the moment. I mean, what's your take on the whole wages situation? Looking ahead to next season and stuff like that.
Well, the wages situation is quite frankly an outrage, and it's shameful. It's absolutely shameful. It's one thing not playing the players; it's quite another not paying people that are on minimum wage. I mean, I think Chef Cam summed it up perfectly in one of his posts. Where he said, I'll get paid on Thursday, and my mortgage will come out my wages on Friday morning, and there'll be a lot of people in that situation who've received £700 in their pay packet, and I don't have the words, James, to be honest. It's just reprehensible. It's shocking.
Yeah.
As far as the club's concerned, is actually the one thing we don't know is anything going on in the background in terms of the manager situation? Is there anything going on in the background to do player recruitment? We just don't know. I suspect he's just sat on his hands doing nothing, and we'll struggle to put a team out in August. I feel.
What did you make to Deshaun Bernard coming out as well and breaking silence? Obviously, he just put the clip on of Jose Mourinho saying, if I speak, I'm in big trouble. What did you make to that?
It brightened my day a little bit, to be honest. It did actually bring a smile to my face. And full marks to Deshaun. I thought that was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, Stevie, massive thanks for coming on, pal. Do really appreciate it. Peter, I'm going to come to you in a second. I can see I've got Ted, I've got Callum, I've got G, Jonathan as well that want to come up and speak. I'll come to you in a second as well. But let me just read a few comments. Barry said HMRC to be paid very soon, I am advised. What, paying HMRC? What tax bill has he got to pay if he don't pay the wages? Natalie said HMRC will put in a bankruptcy order if the tax bill isn't paid. There will be a marker on the account for late payments already. Yes. Andrew said, James, as a business owner for a decade, look, Andrew, you'll be able to speak to Chansiri then at the fans forum. Does DC not realise he has no cards left? If you're the consortium and DC wants to be difficult, wouldn't you wait until we are a League One and grab us for a steal? Yeah, but I suppose the difference is that there's Adam Shaw, who is a Wednesday fan. So he perhaps doesn't want to see us drop down. He's perhaps not. And again, I guess, if he's not putting all the money in himself, he's only putting in perhaps a small amount in comparison, then it doesn't really mean anything to him how much they end up buying the football club for. But I do agree, though. I know is it Mike Ashley apparently had come out and said he'll just wait for administration, and I'm sure there'd be quite a lot of others that would do something similar. Matthew said, if the new owners are announced, we should all have a party in the park. Yes, definitely. Kieran says, Chansiri will get nothing for the club as he will lose it by his own doing. I've seen a few people mentioning something similar. It's just one last fuck off to the fans to, getting a points deduction or something like that and leaving the club in a right old right old mess, which I sincerely hope that he doesn't do that. However, I've been saying on multiple occasions there's been many opportunities for him to leave with a little bit of dignity. I feel that's all gone now with him not being able to pay wages. As I mentioned, not paying the players is one thing. Not paying the staff is just, words can't describe it, to be fair. Let's come to Peter then next. Peter, how you going, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right, James. Are you, mate?
Yes, as I said, it's consuming my whole life at the moment, as it probably is many other people as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's your take on? Well, first of all, what did you think to John, who went on Radio Sheffield yesterday?
I thought it was there were good words to hear. It was well scripted. I think it was a little bit of artistic license and choreography. Anybody, and this is not pouring cold water on it, it's not difficult to make a positive statement and come out sounding the hero in the current climate that we're in. It's very easy, in fact. He did say all the right things. He did have a plan, definitely, which is probably the thing to take out of it is the plan. There's actually a plan in place from the consortium or whoever these people are, and this is what American people do. This is how they operate, and it's always good to have a plan and then a backup plan if that fails, and a plan C or whatever, however you want to work it. And it's clearly what we haven't had as a football club. Now the after effect of that, the remnants that are left behind, obviously the staff who are still waiting to be paid 4 or 5 days after they should have done. Like everyone's saying, it's nothing but an absolute disgrace, and I hope everyone listening tonight can have a think and a dig deep if they already haven't, and try and contribute to the GoFundMe page, because that will help in some small way, no matter how much it is. But one comment that John Flanagan did say was that even if this happened tonight or tomorrow and they agreed a price on a takeover, due diligence would still take place. And I think this is where the skeletons will come tumbling out of the cupboard. And I think there's a lot of stuff that Mr. Chansiri doesn't want to come to light. And for me, there are lots of big questions. The Emperor's clothes, or the mysterious shirt that everybody's bought, or that 1,000 people have supposedly bought at 70 quid. What was the big rush to get the 70 grand in for? And all of a sudden, 3-4 months later, he's tapping up former sponsors for hundreds of thousands of pounds to try and bail him out of his own errors.
Just on that, Peter, before you carry on, the thing that frustrated me the most about that is why now? Why is it taken to the point where you've not paid the wages for you to go, do you know what? I'm going to go to these previous sponsors and see if they've got a bit of money. Why is it taken to now? He should already know.
I think he's in. No, it's the last chance saloon syndrome.
It is, but you should be doing that anyway. He should get to that point where there's no point in talking to him because I've already spoken to him last month or the month before or whatever, and they've said no, they'll come back to me next year. I know you're saying it's last chance saloon, but that needs to be done already. He hasn't done that at all.
It's 5-2 on a Thursday night, Friday morning. He's in Roxy's and he ain't got a last dance. That's what he's after. He needs money. He wants money, and he doesn't care how he gets it. That's the situation we now find ourselves in as a football club, and more importantly as a business. But not just a football club and a business, but the football club itself and us as fans are all part of the wider community. So everything that he does naturally affects every one of us. All of us listening tonight, affects you, James. It affects me, affects my lad. It affects all the supporters that come in the ground, home or away fans. And I think the job is quite simply far too big for him, and he just can't. He obviously can't handle it. He obviously can't. He never has grasped it. And like the Americans said straight away, it's about the fan experience. It's a totally different product to them. It's about getting us to come back the week after, win, lose or draw. Sup said right at the very start, going to Sheffield Wednesday is like going to the dentist with no, they've got no lights on, the central heating's off, and it's cold, it's uninviting, it's not warm, it's not welcoming. It's the appointment with fear. It's not a nice place to have to go, and that makes it even worse if the performances on the pitch aren't as what we want to see as fans. Now, I think this in some. I said it last week. The end is nigh. In some respects, it's a. Whilst I feel deeply sorry for all the staff who haven't been paid, I think we're in a far better position tonight than we were a week or 2 weeks ago, because the end is here. Is getting closer and closer. Yes, we've got 9 months of pain. We may drop into League One. We may drop into League Two. And if we get a points deduction, we get the embargoes, and we get the big fine, then we'll live with it, deal with it. But I'll stand by what I said last week. I think this is going to make us a lot stronger as a football club. Not maybe not in my time, but in the times. I had a young supporter come on. I think it was last week. He came on. He was 16 years old.
16, yeah.
16, and it was great to hear a young lad like that at that age coming on and speaking how he said it, because they've got feelings too. And I've been watching Wednesday 51 years now, and I'm getting to the end of my tether, and I have questioned myself, and I probably only go to the match now because of my lad who was 14, and he wouldn't speak to me again if I didn't take him every week. But there must be thousands of other fans like me who go because our fathers took us when we were kids, and our mums and dads and grandpas, aunties and uncles, whoever do, and that's what the owners, this owner Chancery, has never grasped. I'm glad we've got to this stage in terms of it may bring us together. A lot of the infighting may stop, although social media doesn't help that. I just really want us to come together as a club, and whether we end up in League One and we end up at Accrington and Fleetwood and Port Vale and Chesterfield and Rotherham again, I don't really care, because we'll be more solid. We certainly won't let this situation happen again. And it's just one that hopefully it's taught us a very, very painful lesson.
Yeah, like we'll still be here. Like we as fans will still be here.
Yeah.
Yes, there'll be some that drop off. Of course they will. Your casual fans, yeah, definitely. But I do agree. It's about bringing everyone together. Let's put everything to one side. Let's stop the "I told you so" moments and "oh look, you're not saying this now," whatever it may be. People are, all those people that have supported Chancery through thick and thin. All right, a lot of thin, but
I know he's listening tonight. But the Wednesday fans who spat at Rob Oldfield and insulted the 1867 group, they ought to be thoroughly ashamed of themselves.
Yeah,
damn good look at themselves.
But what I mean, what I'm about to say was, like, all those people that defended him or whatever they did, like you don't have to come out and say anything, but just change your opinion. It's all right to change your opinion. It's okay to say that I was wrong or whatever. You don't have to come out and publicly say that. But let's just all get behind this movement. Let's get behind whoever the next owner is going to be. Whether don't think they've got a pot to piss in or not. At the moment, we are in dire straits, and it can't really get any worse. I know.
Those words you just said, James, about it don't matter if Adam Shaw's got a pot to piss in or not. He obviously has, or his consortium has. It's certainly a bigger pot than Mr. Chancery is, because he ain't got a pot at all. He's pissing in great. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, well, I said it. I can't get much worse. I know it can, and I know people have already clipped up that Mick McCarthy meme and stuff. But it's what I mean is a new owner that comes in. I know people mentioned months ago the grass isn't always greener. And I get that, but it doesn't have to be much greener for it to be better. I mean, you just have to be able to pay your wages. You know what I mean? And instantly you're a better chairman than what the one that we've got.
Our grass needs to be greener, James. We're having a new pitch, aren't we?
Hey, we haven't paid for it yet, have we?
No, EFL are, hopefully.
If I'm I found the people that are laying that pitch, I'd be knocking on the door asking for my money now.
Yeah.
If I was them, I'd want assurances that I'm going to get paid for this work. So yeah, we'll see. Peter, massive thanks for coming on. I
You're
know,
welcome,
I know we
Bob.
normally talk for a long time, but I've got so many other people that want to talk. It's a really, really busy show, but thanks for coming on. As always, let's come to, I think Jonathan's been waiting a while. Jonathan, I'll come to you in a second, mate. I'm just going to read some of the comments that have been coming through. Nat said the last few nails are going into the coffin for DC now. Jay says, I believe he's allegedly mates with Dave Richards from One Disco, who was implicated in some fraud with bonuses. Not sure what that's about. Mike has said at this point, admin is a smart move on his behalf. I'm guessing if you're relating to money that's owed to people, but yeah, we don't really know what that situation is. But because he's the only director, he has to appoint the administrators himself, and I just can't really see him doing that. James has said he's too reactionary, firefighting all of the time, a lack of planning in every aspect. Again, I go back to the fans forum and the fact that he wouldn't give us the plan. Like, some people bought that and was like, oh yeah, all right, okay. He said that we don't know what league we're going to be in. The truth is, he didn't have a plan because he didn't know where the next pound note was going to come. He didn't know if it was going to land on red or black next month. Unfortunately, he's struggling at the moment. Steve Bracknell's in the chat. He says, "Get the elephants in the Don." Steve, no truer word said. Let's come to Jonathan then next. Jonathan, how's things, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. You all right?
Yes, I'll just say yes.
Yeah, might as well be, aren't you? I mean,
yeah. What's your take on this whole situation? How John Flanagan spoke yesterday and wages and everything else.
Well, I suppose on the interview yesterday, I think he said just a lot of things that you would expect anybody wanting to buy a football club would say to the fans. But I think particularly a few things when he said about the ambition. Yeah, he said about, we want to get to Premier League, but he kind of dismissed that and said, no, you got to get the foundations right first. And he talking about improving the academy, improving the training facilities, improving the stadium, or even building a new stadium. And then he talked about getting value for money and having the right product on the pitch and things like that. And I suppose the other couple of things I took from it was when he mentioned about people in the consortium already owning sports teams.
Yeah.
So they've obviously got knowledge within the consortium of how sports teams or football club, you would hope, should be run. And then when he talked about the executive team, a CEO, a sporting director, that they'd already sounded people out who might be interested in coming in if they were successful. So I think it was, on the whole, very positive. He said more in 18 minutes than Chansiri said in 10 years.
Agreed. Yep.
Hey,
would you be happy with it? Would if they were to come in? Are you convinced enough? I know they obviously haven't shared everything. We still don't know who these people are, other than they are, as you mentioned there, like public figures and some some current and some former sporting people as well. So would you be happy so far?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, be happy with anybody taking over at this point, and and it can't get any worse.
It can.
So I think, well, it could, but I think with any consortium, though, somebody that comes in and you hope that you get that engagement, you get that transparency, and you sort of hold them to account. Well, come on, you said you'd do this. You said this is a plan. When's this going to happen? But give them a chance to deliver. So I don't think it'd be a case of, I'm delighted they're here. I mean, I would be, but I think, don't start jumping for joy. We're going to get Premiership in 2 years. We're going to start doing this and that. It will be, like you said, it'd be a process. It'll take time, but give them a chance to sort of get the feet in, start putting the plans into place, and just hopefully they have that transparency with the fans.
Yeah. Jonathan, are you Do you want the next owners to be a consortium? Obviously, at the moment, we've just got one absolute lunatic that's the owner. Would you prefer it to be a group of people? Would that give you a bit more security that perhaps this might not happen again?
Well, I suppose if you have a consortium, there's a number of people in it, and with a number of people, you get a number of voices, and it's just not one man deciding everything like we've got at the minute. You would hope then with a consortium, like I said earlier, you've got that wide base of knowledge to be able to, take on challenges, whatever comes, how to run it properly. And it's not just going to be, like I said, one person dictating.
I suppose that's the other thing as well. They might have expertise in different areas. Do you know what I mean? They've got some people that mentioned own franchise. You use the word franchise, don't you? Own franchises elsewhere already, so they perhaps have that sort of knowledge. John Flanagan, if he's kind of pulled this sort of the money together, that's his area of expertise. He's finding capital and raising capital and stuff like that to actually be able to fund various things, whether that is a new training ground or a new stadium. Let's just get a bit crazy for a second, or even improvements to stadium and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think one of the issues with it all, though, is I think it was quite concerning what was said at the end, because I just don't see Chansiri entertaining these guys. I think he's probably still got a massive chip on his shoulder after Adam Shaw and the alleged non-payment of sponsorship money. I was online earlier and thinking, you said about building a new stadium. So if we build a new stadium, we don't need Hillsborough, and we don't need to pay Chansiri's $2.5 million a year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then he loses out on that money. I listened to an interview on Saturday on TalkSport for the new Oldham owner, and he said when he agreed a price, it took 4 weeks to do due diligence and then complete the purchase of the club. But then purchasing the stadium and property that was separate to the club, that took another 6 to 7 months.
Yeah.
So whether they'd just buy the club and pay the rent to Chansiri, or whether it'd be the club and the stadium, it'd be interesting.
But if he doesn't entertain this, though, Jonathan, where does this leave us, though? Because at the moment, our understanding is these are the only interested party. There could be others, but we don't. There's no common knowledge unless Bizzle is right and there is some other consortium out there.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I've seen a couple of tweets online from people who get, sort of say things and, they almost right on a few things. And, I saw someone say, though, he has got his people looking out for a buyer out there. I think the nightmare scenario is he finds someone who sort of buys 90% of the club. He keeps 10%, and he's basically then kept on as chairman, and he gets his money that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
he just
in
needs
the background, you've got a silent partner, or he goes 50-50 in with someone like one of his mates or something like that. I think that'd be the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I don't want Desmond Chansiri anywhere near the football.
No,
club.
He don't deserve to be.
Joe, in times I've kind of said thank you for Wembley and stuff. I'm not even going to say thank you for that anymore. I think what he's done recently is just totally abhorrent. And
I think
he should have seen this coming. And he's not done anything about it, and it's just not good enough for me.
Yeah, and I think this latest episode, I think what you'll have had in the past is a lot of apathy from Wednesday fans. Now I think it's anger.
Yeah,
I think that's the big change.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. This point, Jonathan, we should be looking forward to the new season. I don't think anyone's looking forward to it at all, are they?
I mean, we've gotten all this on the debate, and you've had a few pods this week. Nobody's even talked about what might happen with his manager's situation.
I forgot. We've got Deshaun Bernard. He won't be fit. We've got Piers Charles in goal next season. Forgot about that. Josh Windass. He's going to be should be. He's we've obviously signed a new contract. All these players. We've got Nathaniel Shalabar alongside Ingleson in the middle of the park.
I know, but I don't know what has to twig with Chansiri to go. fine, let's start negotiating. Let's get a price that we're both happy with. Or, yes, I'll accept that bid. I don't know what has to twig with him for that to happen.
It doesn't sound like there's been any. John Flanagan said there's been no counter offer twice. So they've gone with an offer, rejected. They've gone in with another offer, rejected. He's not even said like, this is what I need. This is where you need to get to. He's just gone no.
And I think, and like I say, I don't know how this ends, other than just the club as a team, League One, League Two, maybe even with him still there, just going from month to month, or some Sky money, we can pay some bills, we'll sell this player, we can pay some bills, season ticket, we can pay some bills. I just don't know what has to twig with him to let it go. I do think, it'll be interesting to see what happens next Wednesday with the trust and the ideas. I've put a few things online saying I think we need to get a little bit more creative with the protesting. I think we can all sit there in Hillsborough and sing, get out of our club, but until we blew it in face. But I don't think that's going to make much of a difference now.
Well, it's going to be quite hostile. I think if this situation doesn't get resolved, or there's no sign of it being resolved come the start of the season, I think it's going to be very, very interesting at Hillsborough next season. He's certainly not welcome, put it that way.
No. I mean, the other way to look at it is if you take the football club out of it, he's not paid the wages of working class people from Sheffield.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just not good enough, is it, Jonathan?
No, it's not. And
like I said there, he should have seen this happening. I mean, quite a lot of people saw it happening, but clearly he didn't. So
he put out on that thing that on that statement on the club website, they anticipated that it would have been resolved Monday. But how can you anticipate that it would have been resolved if you're going begging for money?
Well, he obviously thought that someone were going to give him it because it's probably happened many times before, which is why we're in this situation.
And this is where I think the EFL needs to start looking in. Well, who's been giving him this money in the past if it's not his? And we need to sort of, that's what I'm saying about getting creative with protesting. Let's start targeting sponsors. Don't sponsor the club. Don't give him the money. Yeah. Because the fans. Okay, he's got season ticket money. Don't pay on the gate. Don't buy a pint. Don't buy a pie at half time. Don't buy the shirts. Just starve him of cash, and that's probably the quickest way to get him out.
Whilst I agree, the only thing is, if that means that this happens, which the situation they're in now, where there are normal people that aren't getting paid, it puts you in a tricky situation, doesn't it? Really,
it does. It's horrible.
Do you know what I mean? Because you want them to be paid. I don't want their livelihoods. I don't want the players not to be paid either. Clearly you can get into this situation where he is that cash strapped and he doesn't give two shits. He's still carrying on. So because if you think about it, he's at that stage already. He's at that stage where he hasn't got any money. Irrespective of us putting money in or not, he hasn't got any money now.
I saw someone put something online earlier in the week, and I kind of put two and two together. So somebody put that, I think around 2022, he had about 4% of Thai Union Group shares, about 200 million, and he sold them for he's got about 0.9% left, which is about 9 million, about 20 million shares at 50p each. So is he down to his last 10 million, and that's what he's all used, and he sold his shares previously, and all that's gone.
Yeah, I don't know. To be fair, there's a lot of grey area about where his money's come from, and I think we as a fan base or the media or whoever needs to perhaps look into this a lot more. I know it'll probably take a long time, but we don't know where his money's come from. Mr. Walmart, his money's come from Walmart. We don't know where. We have no idea where his money's come from. It isn't from Thai Union. Well, it might be from Thai Union Foods if what you're saying is right, but no, who knows? Jonathan, massive thanks for coming on, mate. Do really appreciate it. I just want to get through everyone else if I can before we finish. But no, great to hear from you once again on the show. Let me come to I've got Ted who wants to speak next, and then I'll come to Tom and Callum and Artie Shaw as well. Let me just read a few comments out before we do that. Let's Justin says, what's to look forward to? One thing, ? At the moment, not a great deal, Justin. Craig says, I'd even take DC keeping 49% at the stage, just a puppet at that point. No, I don't want him having any percentage of the football club. Let's have a look. Daniel says Chansiri will be sat there waving his flag, hopefully a white one. Yeah, fingers crossed. And Say No More has said, sick of hearing the man's name. I'm sick of talking about it. I want to be talking about transfer rumours and the players that we've signed and the new season and things like that. But this is the situation that we find ourselves in. Brett says, am I right in thinking it can't be traced in Thailand? Kieran Maguire mentioned no such thing as Company's House over there. Yeah, there's got to be something though, Brett, surely. Somebody is going to know something. You know, when we're talking about these large sum of monies and the fact that he's the chairman of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, surely, you know, if his money is coming from Thailand, someone has got to know something somewhere about it. Yeah, you're right. It can't just be a quick Google search because we'd have found it by now. But something perhaps needs to be done to find out where it is actually coming from. Come on, let's go to Ted then next. Ted, mate, how's things? All good?
I'm not bad, mate. Well, apart from I've got a bit of a cold, and that's all right. That's it. Shooting for start coughing.
No bother, mate. No bother. What do you want to talk about, Ted? 2
or 3 things. First of all, one thing that's baffled me with this lot with Chansiri is he's always like adamant that whoever buys club off him have got to have enough funds to take the club forward. He keeps stressing that. Why would he bother about that? All he wants is his money back. If somebody meets his price, what he wants, that should be it. Get your money, take you up like. But he's going, it's just a bluff, isn't it? Stalling tactics for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get that either, saying he wants the best for the football club. I think he's just giving lip service, but he doesn't normally do that anyway, does he either? Yeah. I think you're probably right. Maybe it is a stalling tactics and just come and try and say the right things. And I do get...
Some other people said, I think he's adding something. He's got to be adding something.
But it is a bit rich, though, isn't it, for him to say that he wants to sell it to the right people when he can't even run the football club in the first place. Like, I mean, come on. You're saying, no, you're not fit. You know, he came out and said to the Florida consortium, with that sort of money, you need to buy a League One club. Wait a minute. You can't even pay the wages. Like, he's a bit rich. He's, pot calling kettle black in it a little bit. He needs to kind of get a grip and just realise the situation. And the more and more you think about it, the more, and I know a lot of people have been rumouring that, maybe he has got a lot of skeletons in the closet. I think people are probably right. Like, there's probably a lot of things that he's trying to hide.
Got to be somewhat serious as well, because he's saying petrified it coming out. Probably send him down. I mean, his feather's a bit dodgy and all. He got suspended from training, hasn't he? For inside a deal, he's dead. So they're a bit better, his family is. Other thing was, what was it now?
Well, go on. What are you thinking, Ted? What did you think to what was said? Do you think they said all the right things, and would you be happy with that Florida consortium if they did actually strike a deal?
It was orchestrated about it. They were saying what we want to hear, that's all. It did sound good, yeah. The thing is, though, he don't want to deal with Adam Shaw. He don't want to know him, does he? And I think that's why he did that interview with that Flanagan fella. He's done that because so that fans are going to get onto Chansiri. Well, tell these like that. These know what they're doing, knows what I mean? I think that's why he's done it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a comment. I saw a comment earlier, just someone saying that obviously that consortium said that Danny Röhl is in their plans if they were to come in. Could you see that happening? Do you think that's perhaps why we haven't heard a great deal at the moment about Danny Röhl?
That was another thing. I was thinking, if it's a nail on, we're going to get relegated. We've got a big point deduction and whatever. We're going to need somebody better than Danny Röhl to get us out of Division 1 because we're going to go down. So he needs to be shopping about, whoever owns club, and get a proper a promotion contender like what's done it before.
I don't think necessarily need anyone better. I think we just need a
what?
different type of manager. I don't think Danny Röhl is cut out to be League One. You know, there's different. There's different people in there and different skill sets and stuff. And he's
got to know people in that division who's going to get us out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't think he'd know.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't think we'd have the players and the squad to play the way that he wants us to play and get the results that we know. It's quite, it's tough, isn't it, in League One? I mean, look, we're talking like we're in League One now. We've still got a season in the Championship.
Well, but hopefully, fingers crossed. Well, did you hear that? What do you call it? Is it Ian Bennett?
Yes.
From fans
from the Sheffield Wednesday Trust.
Well, yeah. I just got back into his interview on Radio Sheffield overnight. And he's having a do-it was his club tomorrow night, isn't it, at 7 o'clock?
It's not tomorrow. It's next Wednesday. So I was going
to. I thought it was Thursday.
No, it's next Wednesday. It's the 11th of June. Wednesday the 11th at Wadsley Bridge Working Men's Club. I think it's Wadsley Bridge Working Men's Club. Should be. I should know. Yeah. I will be there, which means that this show won't be on next week, but we will be live streaming from that event.
I'll be telling everyone it's tomorrow.
Well, get them told, Ted. It's next week. If people do want to go, though, head over to the Trust socials, SWFC Trust, I think it is. There's a link, an Eventbrite link. The tickets are free. They're just asking for a £5 donation when you get there for I think it's to the Children's Hospital. But yeah, they want people to come together. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm not sure what's going to be discussed. It is a fans forum.
Well, I know part of it. Did you hear him on radio overnight?
I must admit, with everything else that's been happening and the fact that we've done the show pretty much every day,
he's been in touch with EFL, right? He spoke to him, I wrote to him, and before this all came out, or the charges, he says, I'm pleading with you, like, don't take it out on fans and the club. It's not our fault. And he's apparently he's wrong. All what this chancellor has done in all his tenure at club. You know what I mean? Call it fans this and that, and overcharge everything. He says, sue him, by all means. That's just it. He says, but please don't take it out on fans. We're stuck. We can't get out of it. We've been paid out us. We're back in the club, but he sold on to him, so he's got a face-to-face meeting with somebody from EFL coming up.
Yeah, which is obviously positive, and hopefully the EFL can do something. Obviously, he's on their radar, which
it's another angle to try and get him out, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they've been talking to the FSA as well. They've been trying to do a lot of things behind the scenes and do things right and in the correct way, which we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Ted, I'm going to move on because we haven't got much time left. We've got lots of people that want to speak, but great to hear from you. Hope you get
Cheers,
better.
Mate.
Hope you get better soon. Let's come to, I can't remember if it was Tom or Callum next. I'll come to Tom because he's the first in the list. I will read a few more comments though. Brett said staff will want Rooney. He was paying staff out of his own pocket at Derby. They'd all be quids in. I just hope that the situation gets sorted one way or the other, Brett. Ben says the only Chancery I want associated with Wednesday is his son so he can keep telling us who we are signing. Yeah, can you imagine that, not knowing who we're signing through Instagram? Mental. Sheila says all great players, come on, all aboard Sheffield Wednesday HMS piss the league. Kieran says is the one signing them, wouldn't surprise me, to be fair. And Alexander says it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets any better, I fear. I just hope that the wages situation is sorted, and I hope it doesn't just kind of knock it just further down the road and everyone thinks that it's all right. Let's come to Tom next then. Tom, how's it going, mate? You all right?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. What do you want to talk about, mate?
I mean, I'm going to probably reiterate a lot of what's been said, but I think ultimately, I think we're getting into an end game now. I think with everything that's building up. How long that end game's going to be, I don't quite know, but I just feel like more than ever, I mean, obviously the EFL have charged us, but they've charged him individually. I feel like there's not many avenues for him to pursue anymore, and especially, if he's if he's searching for funds from his mates, if I were them, I'd probably say no because he's got history, hasn't he?
They've probably given him money already beforehand.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I do think you're right. I think there is. I think we're certainly a lot further forward than we were kind of this time last year, if you know what I mean. When you look at it, or even at any point, you know, how many times has he said, you know, find me a buyer? Well, there is a buyer, and he's you know, what did he say? If you want me to sell, I'll sell, and yeah, you find me a buyer. Well, both those things we want him to do, and if anything, he's not stuck to his word, has he? You know, we found him a buyer, and he's not willing to sell. All right, he didn't specify an amount, and when he was asked about how much, he wouldn't declare that. Which, again, the man is just an absolute lunatic. He's an idiot. He's a charlatan. And
the way I've been likening it is like he's basically on the Titanic as it's sinking, and he's refusing to get off.
Yeah, he is, and he's yeah, you're right, and he's sat next to the lifeboat when other people need it, and he's taking other people down with him, which is a huge shame.
It's awful. I mean, I can't imagine how everyone, and obviously absolute solidarity and sympathies, and obviously put some money in the GoFundMe, because it's just, I mean, there's so many things in life that you can't really plan for, but obviously you fully expect that you go to your job, you get paid, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is the one prerequisite of good work, isn't it? Like that's one expectation in life, is that you get paid for the work that you've done. And the fact that these people haven't, not one point, you know, when you look at the amount of money that transfers hands with the football club, we are talking millions and millions of pounds. You know, season tickets, I don't know, £7 to £10 million in season tickets that fans have actually parted with their own cash, and that money is just frittered away. And there's people that are doing that hard work, hard graft every single day in, day out, and they're not getting paid. I just think it's embarrassing, and he's seemingly not embarrassed about it, though, is he? Like,
this is it. And I mean, for a man who speaks about in all his comms, or what little his communication is, talks about respect. He uses the word respect an awful lot. He is by far whoever in my life, obviously I don't know the man, but you know, in the periphery of my life, like, he is the most unrespectful person I could probably name. He's ridiculous.
You can't talk about respect and not pay the people that need it the most. Again, like I said, I feel for the players, I really do. They can probably last a little bit longer than what these people are that will be, you know, they'll rely on every month's wages in order to pay the bills. If I didn't get paid, you know, at the end of this month coming up, I'd be struggling. No, I'm not going to lie. Like,
the same. I'm exactly the same. And you know, like it's been mentioned, like, you know, I can't remember who it was, so apologies. But like, you know, I get paid last day of the month, and then normally, you know, the first of the next month is my mortgage. You know, so I just, you know, I would do my job. I don't really think about it because obviously I'm getting paid, it goes out. It's like that simple. But obviously you're in a situation, an awful situation, where he's, and like you say, he's not even, he just doesn't scream that he's bothered at all about it. Even that really shitty communication that came out, which, by the way, you know, was probably written obviously by one of the media team who haven't been paid. So
potentially, yeah. I mean,
so
the only thing I'd say on that is obviously the comms that come out public facing are one thing, but obviously we've heard that, you know, people just found out via an email that they're not going to get paid. I mean, I know it's probably difficult to perhaps ring everyone, but we've heard kind of what's been in these letters, and the fact that some have got £700 and some haven't, and all this sorts of stuff. You know, I can only imagine what these people are talking about all day. They're not going to be, you know, how they're going to feel so disenchanted. Quite a lot of these people will be Sheffield Wednesday fans. That's why they work at either the training ground or at the club or anything like that. You know, they'll love working there. It might have been a dream for them to get there when they've got that job. Some of these people have been, you know, they start working at the club and they stay there for their whole life. So they've been through all of these different chairmen, you know, throughout the whole course of their working life, and then now they get to a point where they can't even get paid because of his constant mismanagement of the football club. I mean, what, you know, just on this consortium, Tom, for a second, what did you think to it all?
I mean, I think I'd reiterate a lot of the points that have been made. Obviously, it was pre-recorded, so you always. I think because we're Wednesday fans, right? And I think everyone listening will get this. But you know, we're just so obviously we've just been pummeled into oblivion by this guy, right? So when you hear something like this, which is just so seemingly positive and say, like we've said, says all the right things, but I did genuinely feel like he meant them, even though it was pre-recorded and you want to give a good impression. Like others have said, you know, he's involved. It's an American consortium. The Americans are often in their sporting world. It's all the franchises and stuff. But you need to be smart to run those franchises because, you know, it's nothing like, you know, the EFL pyramid. We're talking, it's billions, isn't it? It's stratospheric. It's ridiculous. So they're not just coming in on a whim. I don't think, you know, they'll mean business. But I came out of it and I really liked it. And then I think someone else has already mentioned it, that I just immediately felt very depressed because it feels just like I say, it's there, it's right there, and we can't have it because there's one child in the way who's having a tantrum and doesn't want to piss off.
I just don't get it. Like, he can't pay. And he's got someone that's willing to literally, you know, if a deal got agreed tomorrow, I'm sure they would advance so much money straight away in order to run the football club whilst everything gets sorted behind the scenes. You often see that, don't you? That
I was going to say is that I'm sure that's a thing, right? I was going to mention that. I'm sure that's a thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, what, you know, because, you know, if he can't pay, what, you know, and a deal's getting agreed. I mean, I don't know if he's tried to do that or not, and trying to get them to pay for the wages. I mean, I'm sure if that did happen and they did pay for for this wage bill, they would want assurances that is going to be, you know, part of the deal, and they would get exclusivity or whatever it may be, and something would happen. But clearly that's not happened because we're sat here on Wednesday, the 4th of June, and the wages haven't been paid still. So clearly no agreement's been made. But it's just so sad that we've got to this point, and it's been allowed to get to this point. And here we are, Tom.
Yeah, I think my last thing I'll just say very quickly is that, like, I don't think these guys are going to go away just yet, though. I think someone else mentioned it, that, you know, why? In fact, yourself actually. I think, why would you come out sort of publicly, you know? And I don't think they're going away. I think they're sort of testing waters with him. He's kind of implied how, you know, respectfully, he implied how difficult Chancellor is. But I don't think they're gonna go just yet. I think they're gonna try sticking around. I just don't know. Like you say, I just don't know what he's holding on to. He's really got no business being here at all, for definitely our sakes, for all the staff's sakes, including, you know, the non-playing staff, obviously, and absolutely, really, for his own sake. He's already told us in January that it's affecting his health, which still baffles me why he's holding on to it. So anyway, I'll shut up now, guys.
Tom, massive thanks for your comments, mate. Do appreciate it as always. Let's come to Callum then next, if you're there, Callum. How's things, mate? All good?
Yeah, well, I'm a bit concerned that I might be a curse on this club.
Why is that, mate?
So, 14th of May 2000 was the last Premier League match that Sheffield Wednesday played in, and I appeared the next day.
And what trying to say that it's been downhill from there, Callum?
Well, yeah, and I mean, obviously, I was raised a Wednesday fan, but I didn't start properly following the club until I was about 14, 15, which just so happened to be the first Chance Series season, and so my entire history of following Sheffield Wednesday has all been under Chancery. Obviously, the first season was quite good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's just been a downhill slope since then. And I'm just... I don't know
what's your override, Callum? What's your overriding emotion right now? Then, when you think about Sheffield Wednesday, given your only knowing life under Chancery, what are you thinking right now?
Well, currently I'm thinking, like, is there going to be any club by the end of the year at the going rate? I feel like it's because I can't see Chancery going down the administration route, because that requires the club to pay off its creditors, and the main one being £70 million owned to Chancery. So then he'll have to write off his own debt. So then he gets no money, but he don't want to sell to the consortium. Sorry. So because he'll be making a loss of about £90 million. So I think he's just going to keep waiting until we just get smashed by the EFL, get kicked out of the league or something, and then we all go and support Hallam or something.
Yeah, well, the thing is, again, I just don't get what his motive is, because the club's losing money hand over fist constantly. It doesn't make any money at all. He's having to bankroll it. But he hasn't got any money to put in anymore. So, I just don't, the further we go down, where's he going to get this money from? Like, surely that money's going to need to be paid back if it is some sort of loan. You're not going to get some sponsorship deal that's going to be, enough to pay the wages. I wouldn't have thought. Certainly not something that then you can, it doesn't have to be repaid. So he's only going to get himself further into trouble. I'd probably hold, the season ticket money's not coming in. He's not got any of that. He hasn't got any ticket money at all for gate receipts. That's not coming in either. Certainly until August. All right, he might have a bit of transfer money. Caelan Cadamartri might be being sold, but there's no rumours or whispers on any of the other players at all. Seemingly not that interested in a fire sale to tie us over until the next lot of money comes in. And I don't really know what his plan is, Callum. I don't really know what his next move is.
Well, if you think about it this way, majority of clubs, when they get a shirt sponsor, you go, oh, I know that company. Whereas with Wednesday, it's, who's that? Where have they come from? Who is A-Up? Who is Mockaba Modular? Where have these companies come from? And I feel like for an unknown company trying to establish itself and advertise itself via a football club, that sponsorship money is not going to be anywhere near as much as, say, a Snapdragon or a 3 or any of the sort of main sponsors you see around, I guess, in the Premier League, for example. With the potential sale of Cadamartri, that will sort us out for last month's wages, but then where does this month's wages come from and next month's wages until the season starts up again? If anything, I'd be surprised if we end up having a new kit, because I reckon Macron's still waiting for some money to come in as well for next season's kit. We might have to go back to this season's kit next time.
Well, there were rumours, weren't they, a few months ago that they'd not been paid, and they were kind of shut down by the club. I believe it was at the fans forum where they said that that's not the case. But then all these things come out now, and you think, actually, who knows? Like, we know we're none the wiser. Clubs, I think Stoke, their Macron, they've already released their kit.
It looks good as well. It looks good.
Yeah, not too sure those wavy lines. If we've got wavy lines on our kit, I'm not.
We had wavy lines this season.
A little, well, not quite. But look, if it looks like the Stoke kit, I'm not a fan. But the point I'm making is Macron's kits. They've made Stoke's kit. Theirs is out already. Where's ours? I mean, look, if it's a way of him getting a little bit of money now, if he needs it. I know he can't just suddenly just say, right, the kit's coming out, but maybe we're always at the back of the pile because we don't pay enough for the kit, so we don't have the right
I mean,
deal.
a bunch of fans have already pre-ordered the third kit that no one's seen, and you might go, oh, you can pre-order this new season's kit without seeing it as well, and then I'll use that money. But then, how can you spend £75 on a shirt if you don't even know what it looks like?
Well, people did, didn't they, Callum? People did.
Oh yeah, but there was the rumor of the old badge, and everyone went, "Oh yes," but I can't see a future at the moment for the club. I'll be honest. It's looking like we're going to be clutching at straws, going down the back of the settee to try and grab your last 2 pence to try and pay someone that desperately needs the money, and then after that, I can't see Chancery selling to the consortium, which I logically can't understand, because the 75 million alleged offer is more than reasonable. I mean, I can't remember who put the stat up on Twitter, but it would be the most money paid for a championship club that is not either in receipt of parachute payments or very viable to be promoted, i.e. your Leeds and your Leicesters. So I think he's been extremely unreasonable, and I reckon, as a lot of people have said, the skeletons in the closet is what he's trying to keep hidden, because the slight theory that he's been taking money out of the club to sort out his other businesses and then using their money to sort out the club and flipping back and forth is, if I'm not mistaken, illegal for a football owner to take money out of the club for personal use in like their other businesses elsewhere. And so if that did come out in the old due diligence purchase sort of process, then he'd be going down the police station and getting questioned about that, and I think that's what he's trying to avoid. Yeah, you're probably right.
Callum, massive thanks for coming on, pal. Do appreciate it as always. Was it your first time coming on this evening?
It is my first, yeah.
Great stuff. Well, hopefully, not next week, because we will be at the Sheffield.
I'll be there.
I'll
be there.
Great. Well, great to see you there next week as well. But Callum, thanks for coming on, pal. We're going to come to Big Artist Show. I know we've kind of ran on a bit, but I'll come to Big Artist Show, and then we'll wrap things up. I'm just going to read a few comments. James Röhl has said, on a lighter note, I've seen Wednesday in the Premier League, Cup finals and Europe. Yes, all back in the 90s. Daniel Hancock has said, can't wait for the Fruit of the Loom kits. Justin said, Club Shop told me they have the new kit already. Why is it not out there? Why are we not selling it to raise a bit of money to pay these people that desperately need the money? I think Rob Staten has said a little bit earlier today, and just kind of reiterated, nothing new. He said it at 8 o'clock. Per sources on the playing and non-playing side of Sheffield Wednesday, the payment issues have carried on for another day on both sides. Nobody has any clarity or idea when this will be resolved. Andrew said, would anyone buy a new kit if it did come out? This is the issue he's got himself in. Who will support this clown right now? Let's come to Big Artist Show then. How's it going, mate? You all right?
Evening, James. How's it going, everybody? Hope everybody's well. I just want to start that the 18-minute interview seemed to basically encapsulate everything which we have been after for the last 8 years off of Chancery. And basically, I know a lot of people will probably say that he was playing the tunes we wanted to hear, but to be quite honest, that's the same playlist we've been asking of Chancery for 8 years. So it's not hard to just say the right things to us and get us on board. And I also believe that by it being suddenly dropped early, because it was all being planned for Wednesday and everybody needs to tune in, and then it suddenly got dropped, I think that was quite a good tactic, because what it's ended up doing, it's allowed a good number of Wednesday fans to pre-listen to it, listen to the text, listen to the transcript, listen to what he was trying to say, and get us now as a fan base on board with them. Yeah, I know that there's going to be skepticism, Nobody wants to try something different, but I do believe that they are trying to do a tactic now, which is to get them onboarded with us to be on their positive side rather than, we don't like Chancellor. It's clear now we've done with him. So what they're trying to do now is they're now trying to win the public over, or should I say, the Wednesday fans over. And I think it's a positive move. I think one of the things which he did come across, which was quite interesting, is the fact that they believe that Danny Röhl is actually factored in their plans, which is also was also quite an interesting thing. And maybe, if they're able to facilitate it, get it over the line or whatever, it is positive. And I think as Wednesday fans now, we need to just take that leap of faith, because at the end of the day, we're at the bottom of the pool now, and we're on his last bubbles of breath under this current regime, and it is a regime. And how I see it now is we need to be able to get ourselves out of that pool, because we are drowning, and this club will drown unless we actually pursue it. And it leads me to another point, which is, why can we not pressurise the EFL? And I hope that, like, the chairman of the trust could ask the EFL if he's got a chance to speak to him, is why can't the EFL enforce a directors and owners test on him again, and also prove his future financial stability? They've got the means, because they can do it for prospective owners and directors. Why can't they turn around and say, look, you have been financially incapable for a number of years. You have been you've been on the edge of regulation. You've gone beyond regulation now, because it's quite interesting. The EFL have roped in the March as well as the May missed payment. I think now is the time to ask that question. EFL could do that. And the reason why I say it, and we all like an analogy, if I'm driving a car, I have to go and have it MOT'd every year. And that basically gives me that certificate, which allows me to go on the road to actually drive the car. Why can't he now be tested and prove that he's fit for purpose for 12 months, 18 months, whatever periodicity? Because currently, we all know he hasn't got the money. He's like that character in the In-Betweeners film, when they're in Malia, and he comes up and goes, all right, lads, 50 euros. And they all tell him to piss off. And then he goes, all right, then 30 euros. No, do one. 5 euros then? That's what he's doing. He's running around everybody now going, I need some cash. Can you do it? And I think, yes, we are now getting in a strong position. I agree to all the callers which have been on here. A great show again. He's got no more bullets in his revolver. He can't keep shooting us out of the park saying, well, if you find me a buyer, I'll sell. Well, we're finding you a buyer, or do this. And we're at that point now. Like, remember as a kid, they also had someone who used to draw that line. And if you pass this line, I'm gonna do it. All right, if you pass this line, I'm gonna do it. And that's what we've got to now, because he's a child. Let's all be quite honest.
Well,
he's acting provocatively now.
He's kind of lost all that respect. He uses that word respect, Danny, but he's lost all that none. Respect with what's happened now. I'm just going to bring Matt up for a second. I need to just jump off and sort my lad out. But Matt, if you just want to carry on for 5.
How are you, mate? Big Art, you sure? You okay? Hello? One thing that I think James has forgot to do is to pass over the X stream for me. So I will just hop up and try and carry on as best as I can. It's been really interesting kind of listening to some of the views and the opinions this evening. I think it is one of those situations where obviously there's clearly a lot of emotions running very high with the statements that have been released, and obviously the issue of the unresolved payments as well. what I will say on behalf of James, obviously, and everybody who has messaged in this evening, thank you so much for contacting us, and thank you so much for ringing in. We do really, really appreciate it every single week. And we will be back, obviously, next Wednesday, same time, same place. So thank you so much, everybody, once again. Enjoy your evening all. Take care.